Citizens worry about availability of the second dose of Sputnik V. Father of Anthony PERSAUD cries out for reform traffic law. Public transportation operators will be required to be vaccinated in order to continue services. In the region, Peru presidential appointment, Castillo appoints far-left ally as PM, and internationally, Olympics COVID protocols contrast Tokyo's lockdown fatigue. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. The government of Guyana has extended the national curfew until August 31st, with the lockdown hours in effect from 10:30 p.m. to 4 a.m., along with restrictions on social activities and other measures. Today, the Ministry of Health and the National COVID-19 Task Force issued the gazetted COVID-19 measures for the new month. People are still required to wear masks while in public spaces. The measures also stipulates that all gatherings are limited to no more than 10 people and social activities are also prohibited. Recreational activities at rivers, creeks, beaches, swimming pools, and internal waters remain prohibited. However, it is now mandated that persons visiting restaurants prove that they have been vaccinated against COVID-19. According to the guidelines, patrons of restaurants will now have to walk with their IDs and their vaccination cards to access the services of a restaurant. Restaurants will still only be allowed limited indoor dining up to 9:30 p.m. In addition, under the updated guidelines, cinemas will be allowed to reopen their doors but only at 40% capacity, and all of the patrons must present a vaccination card before being allowed access. Patrons of casinos and betting shops will also be required to prove that they have been vaccinated. From the 1st of August, only vaccinated persons will be allowed to visit government agencies and ministries without an appointment. Those who are unvaccinated will have to first make an appointment before any visits to access government services. Operators and conductors of all public transportation will be required to be vaccinated to continue providing public transportation services. Meanwhile, places of worship, gyms, and fitness centers can operate at a limited capacity. The Ministry of Health considers a person vaccinated once the person was administered a dose of one of the vaccines to guard against COVID-19. While the Ministry of Health claims that the government is working to obtain more second doses of Russian Sputnik V vaccinations, the United Republican Party chairman claims that the Minister of Health is not forthright with the citizens of Guyana. Here's more.
There is going to be a second dose for everyone who took the first dose. So I don't want people to be worried about that. And we have been constantly working to make sure that we can get supplies in. So as we get those supplies in, we are going to announce it so that people can come and get their second dose. I'm asking people for their patience as we work to make sure that we get more doses in.
You told us clearly that when you give the first dose, you are taking the second dose and you are securing, you're putting aside, so when you come, you have your second dose to get. So how come now you're telling us, that you don't have the second dose?
While Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony says the government is working to obtain more second doses of the Russian Sputnik V vaccination, United Republican Party chairman Dr. Vishnu Bandhu claims the minister promised that a second dose will be procured for every first dose.
So all kind of excuses they are making, lies and lies and lies with the minister and the minister advisor, Dr. Ramsamy. All is lies, what they're telling these people in Guyana.
Citizens continue to show up to vaccination locations on various return dates, only to be told that they would have to return at a later time. One woman who did not want to have her identity revealed for fear of reprisal said she received her first dose of the Sputnik V vaccine on May 7th and was given a June 3rd return date. However, to date, she has not received that dose despite repeated trips to several immunization locations.
They said they do not have the second dose and I must check back the next week. So I went back and they said they do not have it. I went about 3 to 4 times and the same thing they saying all the time.
Yeah, so I went back yesterday and they said they do not have it, just finished. And they checked the card and they said how I must come back in the morning. They will be sharing 8 o'clock in the morning. So I must go back, come back 8 o'clock. So when I went there, I was there 7 o'clock, and they said it finished. It finished 6 o'clock in the morning. I supposed to get the second dose, and I'm worried that they don't have the second dose right now for me. And not only me, there is a lot of people who need the second dose, so we don't know what could happen.
Another woman who requested to remain anonymous told Headline News about her aunt's numerous unsuccessful visits to various vaccination centers.
My aunt is 56 years old. On the 22nd of May, she went and got the first dose of the SPUTNIK V COVID-19 vaccine at the Ministry of Health location on Dam. She was told to return by the 21st of June. When she did so, she was informed that the ministry no longer had, that location didn't have any of the second dose vaccine when she returned for the second dose. A few days later, the Ministry of Health gave a notice that the country didn't have any more of the vaccine. Later in the month of July, another dose, 5,000 doses arrived in the country, and the ministry put some notices on Facebook that persons can start. I think it came in on the 12th, and they said persons can start going and get their doses from the 13th. I took my aunt on the 14th to the Ministry of Health location at Dam by 10 in the morning. It was a rainy day. She went in and came back out in half an hour's time. And she was informed that they didn't have any of the doses. The nurse there told my aunt that the ministry must have made some error. Then the ministry published that they recently got another batch, 10,000 of the second dose. On Wednesday evening, Gordon Mosley, as well as another news outlet, posted that Movietown was going to have a vaccination drive today from 9 a.m. a drive-through vaccine drive. My aunt and I went this morning and we joined the line. The line was as far as Atlantic View. Before we could reach the traffic light at UG Road, a police officer came and informed us that all of the Sputnik V second dose was finished. My aunt is fearful that she would have to take the first dose over again. She's fearful that she will not get the second dose. She had already contracted the virus. She was hospitalized. She went to Ocean View, so she already had that whole experience, and she's terrified that she would get this virus again. Although we know that the vaccine is not a guaranteed, but my auntie also has other ailments that would make it worse for her if she gets this disease again.
While the Ministry of Health continues to strive for herd immunity and the minister is encouraging citizens to get their jabs, citizens are concerned about when the Sputnik V second doses will become available, and if not, then what is next? Don't go away after the break. Father of Anthony PERSAUD cries out for reform traffic laws, and pedal cyclist dies in road accident in quarantine.
Survival Shopping Complex brings to you its delivery service, Shop Through WhatsApp. This process is simple. All you need to do is call or message your grocery list to 613-9683 and we will select your items for you and have them delivered directly to you, even out of town. This is convenient because we can stay on the phone with you as we select your favorite brands. We're happy to do your shopping for you. Contact us on WhatsApp today and shop Price Smart at Survival Shopping Complex.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Tastes so good. It's gotta be made with Alabama Baker wheat flour. Produced from quality soft winter wheat and quality enzymes to give a superior product that's guaranteed to be luscious, delightful to taste, and stays fresher longer. Alabama Baker wheat flour is perfect for breads, roti, puri, pastries, chow mein, pastas, and many other delights. Imported and distributed by Alabama Trading. 6566 Robb Street, Borda, and 23 Lombard Street. Telephone 225-5800.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. In this report, Esther Soares visited the family of Anthony PERSAUD. Anthony died in the horrific accident at Little Diamond over a week ago. Mr. PERSAUD is pleading with the government to amend the traffic laws. Esther Soares has more.
To be scared close, just break your heart. So know that you work so hard to be destroyed. Young drivers, the bus driver, just snatch their life away from them.
Following the death of two persons in the horrific accident 2 weeks ago on the Little Diamond Public Road, the family are calling for the amendment of traffic laws. The accident claimed the lives of 18-year-old Anthony PERSAUD and Aliyah Edwards, while leaving two others in critical conditions. The driver, 23-year-old Kevin Moore, was charged and remanded to prison last Tuesday. However, the deaths of the two individuals have led to outcries from the family members and friends of the victims. Headline News sat down with the father of the late PERSAUD. He is calling for justice for his son's death.
What I think the government should do, they should take back all them license from the young drivers and put drivers from 30 or 45 years to drive public people around, because they're killing people. You see, it's most young drivers killing people every day. It's really hard because I never reached in a situation like this, and this child is the first young person died for our generation. We never had such a young death in the generation. Everybody that died from 50 upward.
Moore, the two deceased, and 9 other people were returning from the seawall in minibus BXX 7256 when the accident occurred around 11 p.m. According to police, Moore lost control of the vehicle whilst driving to the Diamond on the east bank at a fast rate of speed. The bus turned turtle several times, coming to a stop facing in the southeastern direction. PERSAUD, who recently buried his son, is now left praying for a miracle for the complete recovery of his other son, 17-year-old Johnny PERSAUD.
The doctor says so far that he is critical. He's having bleeding in his head, so the only thing we have to do is pray for him. That's also we hoping for. We have to faith and we trust God to perform a miracle so we could talk him up again.
Say to other drivers and you might know leading on the force that may be driving on license and might not be taking their time on the road.
Okay, what I would like to say to other drivers, we know that all the drivers out there is not the same. We have very responsible drivers out there, especially the older guys them, right? They're very responsible because, but these young guys were drinking this Guinness and smoking this weed and they gotta get something to check for weed, to not only alcohol, they gotta just get some for take a drug test because that's what they're doing. And taking chance and killing people.
Regulation 33 of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Regulations only address drivers who want to obtain a license to drive a hire car. The requirements are that persons must be at least 21 years old. They must be capable of reading and writing English. The holder of a Guyanese driving license for a minimum of 2 years and must submit a statement signed by a licensing officer stating that the applicant had been successful in the exam covering the legal provisions relating to traffic. However, there were no similar provisions to be satisfied by a person who wished to drive a motor bus or goods vehicle. According to Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment Regulations 2 of 2013 Amendment Regulation 33, applying that same standard that must be met to drive a hire car, to drive a motor bus or goods vehicle. These amendments would only apply to new applicants for driving motor buses and goods vehicles unless otherwise directed. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Former President David Granger today urged Guyanese to emancipate themselves from mental slavery and become the drivers for change in their communities and countries. Mr. Granger said that as the nation prepares to celebrate the 183rd anniversary of emancipation, this historical event is still relevant to everyday life. He explained that emancipation sets the foundation for political, economic, and social changes that transformed the plantation into a nation. Citing the words of Bob Marley's famous redemption song, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds," which best expressed the emancipation spirit and still resonates 40 years after the song was written. Mr. Granger said Emancipation Day and Indigenous Heritage Month were supplemented by the designation of Chinese, Indian, and Portuguese arrival days as official observance in the national calendar during his presidency. Those observances were aimed at fostering social cohesion through remembrance, recognition, and respect for one another. Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred on Quarantine Berbice. Esther Sobers has that story.
Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred yesterday around 11:30 hours on the Nake Public Road, Quarantine Berbice, involving motorcar PLL 9976 driven by 50-year-old Brian Kendall of Bridgetown Village, Quarantine Berbice, and a pedocyclist 59-year-old Mohabe Ramnarain of Albion, Quarantine Berbice. According to police, the motorcar was proceeding west along the Nake Public Road at a fast rate of speed. The pedocyclists were proceeding in the same direction ahead of the motor car when the car collided with the rear wheel of the pedocycle. As a result, the pedocyclist hit the left side window screen and subsequently fell, causing him to receive injuries about his body. He was picked up in an unconscious state by the police and was taken to the Port Morant Public Hospital, where he was seen and examined by a doctor on duty and later succumbed while receiving treatment. The body is presently lying at the funeral parlor awaiting an autopsy. An investigation is in progress. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away after the break. Peru's presidential appointment. Castillo appoints far-left ally as PM, and taxi war takes deadly toll in South Africa. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
For decades, milk has remained the same. Until now. Introducing the Great Dairy Full Cream Milk from Alabama Trading. Enriched with vitamins A to D and calcium to promote healthy teeth, strong bones, and vitality. Great Dairy Milk is delicious and fortified to encourage healthy cell growth within the body. No wonder it's the #1 brand of milk produced in Ireland. Now available nationwide in 400-gram packages at leading supermarkets and wholesale vendors. Distributed by Alabama Trading.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Survival Shopping Complex brings to you its delivery service, Shop Through WhatsApp. This process is simple. All you need to do is call or message your grocery list to 613-9683 and we will select your items for you and have them delivered directly to you, even out of town. This is convenient because we can stay on the phone with you as we select your favorite brands. We're happy to do your shopping for you. Contact us on WhatsApp today and shop Price Smart at Survival Shopping Complex.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Peru's new president, Pedro Castillo, has appointed a member of his own Marxist party as prime minister. The move is expected to raise eyebrows among investors wary of the new left-wing government. Al Jazeera's Marina Sanchez reports.
Indigenous Peruvians bring offerings to the Pampa de la Quinoa, which is where their ancestors fought the last battle for independence from Spain. And it's here where Pedro Castillo came to his first day as president to take a symbolic oath.
I swear to God and the nation for a country without corruption and for a new constitution.
Several thousands oversaw Castillo's promise to rewrite the constitution, one of the most divisive issues during his campaign for office. And on Thursday, he also appointed Guido Bellido as prime minister. Bellido is from within the president's Marxist-Leninist Free Peru party. He's being investigated over an alleged apology for terrorism. Bellido appeared to defend people who supported the Shining Path Maoist guerrilla group, which fought the state from 1980 to 2000. Analysts say it's surprising that only 24 hours after a moderate inauguration speech, President Castillo returned to his fiery pre-election ways, causing concern for some Peruvians and foreign investors.
I will fight for the people, so the national gas industry is for Peruvians and their electricity bills will go down.
Analysts say Castillo has begun already making serious mistakes. First, he was unable to form a coalition in Congress, enabling the opposition to block reforms. And now, naming a prime minister with a dubious background. Even allies find it hard to accept his cabinet.
I think the presence of Bellido means Congress won't be able to back his cabinet. If Congress can't approve the first or second cabinet suggested, then Congress itself can be dissolved by the president. That leads to new congressional elections. Bellido is highly negative for the country.
While the president celebrates, there's concern that the country's long-running political instability may soon return. Mariana Sanchez, Al Jazeera, Lima, Peru.
Internationally, in South Africa, the army has been deployed to Cape Town as what's being described as a taxi war continues to escalate. Dozens of people have been killed over the past few months, with rival taxi associations battling it out over ownership of a hotly contested route. Al Jazeera's Robin Smith reports.
With millions of South Africans dependent on public transport, the government is not taking any chances. Rival taxi associations have been fighting for ownership of a busy route. Confrontations have raged for years. And it's got worse, with more than 80 people killed so far this year, 24 of them in July alone. Among those injured, a 5-month-old baby. Commuters, drivers and bystanders say they are living in fear.
We can't exactly drive like the way we used to, you see, because you don't know when you don't know when they're gonna shoot now.
We're sitting at a taxi rank and 2 guys or 3 guys came and around the corner, and then we were just enjoying the sunshine outside the container where we normally operate. And those guys came towards us running with guns, you know, and then they came shoot one of our colleagues.
Peace talks have so far failed, prompting authorities to close the notorious route for the next 2 months and to make buses available to commuters as an alternative.
The measures taken by government have helped to quell the violence, for now at least, but commuters are still being severely affected. Every evening, thousands queue for hours before making the journey home by bus. For many, it doesn't stop there. They are then forced to walk long distances in the dark in order to get home.
We don't have a bus which goes to Langa, so now I have to take a bus to the next town, that is Bonteville. Then I drop off there, then I walk.
I'm still scared. Even now, I'm not safe. I know about, no, I'm not safe. But I'm taking a risk.
With lives and livelihoods at stake, commuters, effectively held hostage by the taxi war, are desperate for a solution to the violence. Robin Smith, Al Jazeera, Cape Town.
And finally, Olympic organizers have acknowledged for the first time that people within the protective bubble have been mixing with wider Japanese population, but they insist that there is no link between the games and the record spike in coronavirus numbers in the Japanese capital. Al Jazeera's Andy Richardson reports.
This was a day when fans should have been queuing up at Tokyo's National Stadium to watch the first track and field events. Instead, a view of the Olympic rings outside the venue is the best they can hope for. Due to concerns over the spread of coronavirus, the Japanese public is being kept away from the athletes. Organisers insist these competitors are tested more often for COVID-19 than any other community in the world, and say there is no link between the games taking place and infection rates hitting record levels in this city. But Olympic officials have for the first time admitted not everyone connected to the Games is following the rules about minimising contact with the wider population.
There has been some cases that those accreditations were temporarily suspended. We are not giving their specific numbers today, but there has been a certain number of cases we have addressed.
Tokyo is officially under a state of emergency. As dramatic as that sounds, it's a request rather than a law or an order, and it relies on public cooperation. Government critics say carrying on with the Games is sending the wrong signals.
Actually, it is hampering the message of staying at home
by the government by celebrating the Olympic Games. So it is certainly producing the atmosphere of optimism that nothing is going on and Japan is happy. Hence, it is linked to the current increase of the infection, I think.
27 new Olympic-related cases of COVID-19 were reported on Friday, and 3 Australian athletes remain in isolation after coming into contact with American pole vaulter Sam Kendricks, who's out of the Games after a positive test.
I believe there was a mixture of maybe a brief hug and a handshake from some others, but I haven't done all the details except that it was brief. And but you know, again, it's and we can understand how these things occur, but it's a reminder that this is a Games that's different, and we just can't afford to take those sort of risks.
It all means a once-in-a-generation sporting event has, for most Japanese, been reduced to a brief photo opportunity. Andy Richardson, Al Jazeera, Tokyo.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, stay safe and take care.